Hello and welcome to another episode here on Captain's Dry Dock. And in the dry dock today, I'm in a microbrewery. If you are a subscriber to Captain's Dry Dock, you will know that this channel specialises in making props from film, TV, theatre and literature. So the question is, what am I doing here?
Good question.
This is my 10 Forward. If you're not into Star Trek, it's okay. 10 Forward was the name of a fictitious bar that on board the Starship Enterprise D that all the crew went to have a drink and just drink away their sorrows after they're getting asses kicked by the Borg. So how on earth was I approached to build beer tap handles? Well, quite simply, this is a place I come to every week and chill out, and it's owned by this guy, Matt. And it's a lovely microbrewery in my hometown in Beckenham called the Hounds. And he added 2 and 2 together. He saw the props that I made, such as these, and knew those were the skills that it would take to reproduce his own bespoke design for his own custom beer tap handle. For those that don't know, this is what the original bar tap handles look like. So this is the standard kind of tap handle that you get on most of these microbrewery taps. And it's basically the solid resin knob.
Cheeky.
With a thread inside. It does the job, but it doesn't exactly promote the beer that it's meant to be serving. This is the design that Matt handed to me, and it looks pretty cool. And dare I say, it's got a very Art Deco feel to it. Although when I mentioned that to him, he didn't have a clue what Art Deco was. But that's beside the point because it still looks great. Also, it's multifunctional. So you've got the 2 branded colours of orange and black. And also that circular bit on the top is where you fix the beer brand labels onto so punters know what they're ordering. And when there's no more beer left in that particular tap, the entire tap handle can twist round, and on the back it says in embossed lettering, coming soon. Because in the UK anyway, when pubs run out of a certain beer on a tap, they tend to get an empty pint glass and put it over the top, which looks really ugly. Whereas this lets the punter know not only is there any beer on that particular tap, but there's one coming soon. So it gives them some good news. I'm modelling this up in a 3D CAD package, Fusion 360, and all I have to do to start making this as a 3D model is import the 2D design. Once there, I can accurately calibrate its size to what the end product should be, and then just trace it while keeping in mind how it will eventually be made. Speaking of which, I'm not sure yet if the final production tap will be made out of one or multiple pieces. So I extrude the shapes to make them into a 3D CAD model as separate components, as this will give me the options later. Say hello to my little friends. We got my Elegoo resin printer here, and here's my filament Ender 3 printer, and here is the filament. And I'm going to be using this because it's perfect for prototyping. It's very fast and it's very cheap compared to Elegoo resin. Resin printers I find is really good if you want to make something final, but if you want to try something out before you go down that road, then I recommend doing the filament printing first. After a busy weekend pulling pints, the feedback was really positive and the 3D print held up, although I felt that the forces acting on it would not give it a really long life around the joint to the tap, so it was time to make a resin version. After filling, sanding, painting and repeating to remove the 3D print layer lines, I made a mould of it from silicone and then cast it in fast cast resin. Now this process is really expensive and messy, but the result is a much stronger solid product that can be made really quickly over and over again, which is perfect for mass production. Hang on, you may be saying, I'm making a silicone mould to eventually cast in resin when I've already got a 3D resin printer that can do it in one go. That is a good point. However, 3D resin printing at the time is extremely slow, and also it's very expensive, so it's not great for mass production, which this project is all about. So this resin here costs around about 35 quid, and because it's a special UV cured resin for resin printing, and so financially and also time wise it makes no sense to use this other than perhaps the odd bit of prototyping or just a one-off. I just realised I forgot to show the important step of adding the thread to the handle so the thing could be screwed onto the tap in the first place. Using a spare tap, I found the correct thread insert that would be located in the handle. For this, I need a threading kit that comes with all the tools and inserts to add the thread. This one I picked up on Amazon, the link is in the descriptions. First, I carefully twist the tool bit into the hole, which naturally screws deeper and removes the material to make the internal thread. Then I place the insert that helpfully comes with the corresponding tools and screw it in for a few turns. This tool gets inserted into the thread, grabs that little piece of metal in there that allows me to screw the insert deeper. Once happy, I need to remove that piece of metal with a punch and hammer to snap it, which it's designed to do, and then it falls out. Perfect. From these two versions, I decided to make the final as a composite of both materials, resin and filament. This will be robust, light and cheap to produce. Resin parts for strength and 3D filament prints for the aesthetics. After assembly with a mixture of super glue and 2-part epoxy resin, now it's time to paint. First, I laid down the grey primer. This not only helps the paint to stick, but also the grey shade is great to show any imperfections that could be corrected later. Then I hit it with a few coats of orange, and then I start on the painstaking task of masking. The masking of the coming soon letters that emboss in the back of the handle are really difficult to do, so what I did, I just got hold of the digital drawing I made in CAD and brought it over to my Silhouette Cutters software. And this made easy work cutting out all those little letters out from vinyl, which will be used for masking. These are carefully placed with tweezers into the embossed letters of the handle that will shield the orange paint from the 3 coats of black paint that I'll be laying down afterwards, which will be removed later. For the raised lettering that needed to be orange, careful Warhammer geeky model skills of painting with a brush is used to make the letters pop. Where the last step is to lacquer the entire handle with 3 coats to protect it from years of service. Change of uniform, I am now wearing the Three Hounds t-shirt. Anyway, this project was so much fun to work on, and in fact, after producing one which looked cool, it's not until you see them all on display over my shoulder here in the microbrewery itself that you can really appreciate the design or how it comes across to punters as they walk in. Because as the saying goes, the bar tap handle gets that punter to actually try out the beer at least once, and then the beer does the rest. And if you want to check out these bar tap handles, I've left the address and link down below to the Three Hounds Brewery in Beckenham, London, England. And by all means, come down and try it because the quality of the beer is so good. By the way, I'm not being paid to say that because it genuinely is. In the meantime, my name's John Child. This is a microbrewery, and I'll see you on the next episode here on Captain's Dry Dock. You take care.